weren't we supposed to have a night off during WrestleMania weekend? Apparently not, because the wrestling world decided on Friday night collectively to just push the pedal down to the freaking floor and not let up until after Sunday night. Take the foot off the gas for Monday, and then Wednesday night, right back to the floor. Welcome to Wrestling with Egos, emanating from Studio 16A. My name's Patrick, and I am joined, as always, by my boys Brian and Isaac. However you guys may be watching or listening to this show, whether it be on YouTube, Anchor Podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify. Thank you guys so much for making this WrestleMania weekend recap of Wrestling with Egos your part of your wrestling entertainment for the week. I promise you, this is going to be a fun show. Brian, what's good, my man?
What's good is WWE over-delivered. I will come out and say that right off the jump. But as I mentioned in our WrestleMania preview show, they are not the only game in town.
Oh, no.
And there was plenty of restaurant quality professional wrestling to consume over the past fortnight, as it were.
Right. Well, before we get into that, obviously the show would not be complete without saying hello to the Big Don himself, my man. What are you doing?
What's good, everybody? I'm good. I'm here. I'm ready to go. I might say a few things that might shock a few people, but hey, that's what I do.
Yeah. Either that or he'll just
actually obligated to say a few things that.
Well, but here's the thing: we don't know whether or not it's going to be, something specific, or if it'll be a vague slap to somebody, So we never know if Isaac's going to come direct or if he's going to go the long way around. He's a man of many talents, and it's not like the dude just stands on the mound and throws fastball the whole time. He'll throw you the fastball, then he'll throw you the split finger, then he'll throw you a slider, then he'll hit you with the knuckleball. So,
then he polishes you off with that circle change and it's all over.
Dude, there was only one person. No, you do not mention the circle change without invoking the name of Nolan Ryan. And you did not invoke the name of Nolan Ryan without invoking the name of Robin Ventura. Hey, I'd like to point out, baseball history, guys. Did you guys know that Robin Ventura was the only person in Major League Baseball history to get 5 hits off of Nolan Ryan? Thank you. I'll be here all night. Try the veal. Dude, so much good stuff happened this past weekend in the world of professional wrestling. And before we get into WrestleMania, which, damn, let's talk about a couple of things that happened outside of the realm of WWE, namely Ring of Honor / AEW, because both of these happenings coincide and all mesh together. First and foremost, of the two things, probably the least significant, although very significant, is the Ring of Honor and AEW debut. Brian, hit the shirt. Of the Samoan submission machine himself, Samoa Joe. That was a surprise at Ring of Honor Super Card of Honor. He came out, so he had that match, came out on Wednesday, had another great match. Who did he face on Dynamite? I forgot.
Max Caster.
Max Caster, right. Who's quickly becoming Jobber to the Stars. But dude, don't get me wrong, Max Caster is no slouch. He's really good. But Joe in an AEW ring, once again, another person that WWE missed the boat on. But at the same time, you guys, like I said a couple of weeks ago, in my apathetic state of wrestling, there's just too many people on AEW's roster. I don't know what they're going to do. There's just too damn many people. We also saw the since we didn't do a show last week, the AEW debut of one Toni Storm. That was awesome. Huge pop for Toni Storm. I love that. But there were a couple tag team matches that happened this past week. They were both They were both they were I mean, to quote Isaac, the match it was what it was, man.
This is a pen.
Yes.
And they're written down in pen.
Yes, they're both written down in pen. And ironically enough, both matches featured my favorite tag team, FTR. FTR captured the Ring of Honor tag team titles at Supercard of Honor by defeating the Briscoes in, oh my God, what a match. Easily went down in permanent marker on my list for match of the year candidates. And if that wasn't enough, oh no. Dax and Cash had to double down and put on yet another just instant classic on Wednesday night against the Bucks.
There's something, I'll interject really quick if I may. There's something, I've come around on FTR, I would say, over the past 6 months because I've been paying attention to their presentation.
Welcome to the party, by the way.
Thank you. They are very much a late 70s, early 80s tag team in terms of their presentation, in terms of their ring attire, in terms of the bomber jackets they come out with. And I know who they're patterning their game after. And if they're going to keep...
Who are they patterning their game after?
It's Tully and Arn all the way.
Thank
you.
know.
And it's one thing to say that they're presenting themselves as a ring, but if you go out and you have clunkers in the ring, it doesn't matter. But they go out, no matter the situation. Dax was one of them with CM Punk last month, and that was a wonderful match. They go to they're able now with their AEW situation to go to any promotion they want to, basically, and just show up.
Right.
And say, let me have your best. It reminds me of what Ric Flair used to do back in the day in the territory situation. So for me, FTR, I've come around on them. I've always appreciated them, going back to their NXT days as the Revival. But now they've just elevated. And then I also follow both of them on Twitter. And they have intellectual conversations with people on Twitter. It's not just selfies and, that kind of thing. They're actually having conversations with fans. And it's interesting to see that. So mad props to FTR for the work they're doing.
I completely agree. One thing that you said that I wanted to comment on, and then Isaac, I'll kick it over to you. FTR is a throwback to late 70s, early 80s wrestling. In other news, water is wet. Isaac.
Say them all.
Isaac, what say you about arguably the best tag team on the planet right now?
They're putting together some great matches. They are a throwback. It's very similar to when they were with the Revival, no flips, just fists type of attitude, which was the late 80s, early 90s type of style before, the new style, I want to say, came in. And it's refreshing. It is refreshing. It's a little different, but I got no problems with it. They're putting on some fantastic matches. I like what they're doing. I think the whole tag team division over in AEW is fantastic, and they can put on some great matches. And I'm looking forward to it.
The tag team division in AEW is on the same level as the women's division in WWE. it is an embarrassment of riches, and all it does is make wrestling better. And it's sad. No, not sad. It's beautiful that literally in the course of 1 week we get two absolute instant classics out of the same damn team with different opponents, completely different styles. And to me, I think that shows off the true versatility of Harwood and Wheeler. My God, the fact that they had that absolute brawl, that war with the Briscoes, and then had that fast-paced, hard-hitting kind of style that they had on Wednesday with the Bucks. And picked up the win in both, which I love it now because now the Bucks and FTR are 1-1. So we gonna have to have a trilogy at some point. And to that, I simply say, shut up and take my money. Before we move on to the completely overloaded WrestleMania weekend, do we need to mention anything else?
Yes, we do.
Well, Brian's got to get his shit in here, Isaac. He's gonna here comes a 20-minute long monologue about how much he loves Samoa Joe.
No.
Okay. Just wake me up when we're done.
Wake you up when it's September?
Yeah, I'll be gone until November.
My WrestleMania weekend shout out goes to not the person you think it goes to. This gentleman, I don't have the list of matches in front of me that he performed in. This gentleman wrestled 9 matches in 3 days across multiple different promotions. I didn't get to see any of them, but I saw the list at some point on Twitter, whether it was a tweet from him or a tweet from somebody.
Sean Ross Sapp is who it was.
Speedball Mike Bailey putting in work. And some of the people, did he wrestle Minoru Suzuki at one point, or am I?
I don't think he did.
Okay, but the list was impressive.
I'm gonna try and look it up real quick.
It's not just a bunch of people you've never heard of before. These are some names in Impact, in Ring of Honor, in I think there was an Extreme match in there with one of the Extreme promotions. 9 matches in 3 days is kind of unheard of by anybody. So I wanted to give him some run because just to be able to pull that off and to have the want to want to get out there and get in front of as many people as possible. That's we can sit here and talk about WrestleMania until the cows come home, but those are the kind of people we want to give some run to.
I found a few of the matches, but I haven't seen them all. Give me a
Jonathan Gresham? No. Or Bandito or somebody. I mean, there's
on that list, yes. Give me a second. Let's see if I can find it. All right, you know what? I can't find the whole list, but here are a couple of the highlights. He did Davey Richards at WrestleCon USA versus the World.
okay.
Fight at in New Japan Strong Lone Star. Bandito at the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Super Show, and in the Impact Multiverse of matches against Alex freaking Shelley.
Those are all 4 of those are like top shelf names. So yeah. It's not like he's wrestling Joey Janela. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into WrestleMania, because holy crap. On a scale of 1 to 10, how surprised are you that we got the show that we got, given how we felt about the show 2 weeks ago when we were lamenting how underwhelmed we were? On a scale of 1 to 10, how shocked are you that we got this?
I will give that a 9. For the simple fact that, unpopular opinion, there were a couple of matches that did not deliver for me the way I felt like they needed to.
Agreed.
But those were outweighed by all of the other matches that over-delivered.
Oh, yeah.
I would argue that WWE needed, like, the last couple WrestleManias have been fair to middling at best.
Brian, call it what it is. They've been crap.
And circumstances being what they are, you can understand that. But they really needed, especially this one. It's in Dallas, the big crowd, and all the star power that they assembled. Pretty much everybody was in a position where it's like, look, we need to deliver. And deliver in spades. And most of the time they did deliver in spades.
Of all of the matches that they had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 total matches over the course of the 2 nights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dave Meltzer gave less than a 2.5-star rating. 5 of 19.
That's not bad.
That's staggering.
Yeah.
Just kind of give you more perspective. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and okay, 8. 8 of those matches were more than 3.25 stars. I can keep breaking it down more, but you guys get the point. I am about. I'm honestly, I'm going to say for me, it's a 9.5, because there are some of these matches that I did not expect to be as good as they were. And some of these matches that I was not expecting to be remotely good were insanely entertaining. In this WrestleMania, you got everything. You got comedy. You got sports entertainment. You got pro wrestling. You got violence. You got everything that you needed in a WWE show. My only beef about the entire WrestleMania thing is the Raw after WrestleMania was absolute crap.
Agreed.
My God. Anyway, Isaac, 1 to 10 scale, your level of surprise.
My surprise level. Because I had a very, very low expectation of this WrestleMania, which I was thinking it's going to be horrible. I thought it was going to be a disaster. I put it at 15. That's how surprised I was. That's me being honest. The way that they set it up for WrestleMania was absolute hot garbage.
Yeah.
And we all can agree on that. That was just horrible. Absolutely horrible. The way they set it up, leading up to 16 matches, we said?
Yeah.
1, 3, 4.
16 matches. Maybe 3 to 4 were good lead-ins out of 16.
Yeah.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible for that.
Before we actually start reviewing the card itself, real quick, go around the room. Best match, worst match. Well, your favorite match, your least favorite match. Isaac, I'm gonna let you go first.
Come back to me.
All right. Then I'll go. my favorite match of the entire night. I I can't I can't not do it. Yeah, there were some great matches, and there were matches that got higher ratings than this, but the tag match to open night 2 with RK Bro, the Prophets, and Alpha Academy was absolutely insane of just how much action there was. And then Riddle hitting that springboard RKO all on Montez. My God in heaven. That was just freaking perfect. RKO getting the win and retaining it. And I think everybody expected the Street Profits to get the W on that one. My least favorite match, and do not get me wrong, there were worse matches than this, but they served a purpose. My least favorite match in this was Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. I thought it was absolute crap. It was the sloppiest match I have ever seen out of Charlotte Flair, ever. And Charlotte's generally known for being able to pull a good match out of somebody. This match, I'll go ahead and say it right now, and I stand by this. You could tell. Sorry, having to adjust my glasses because I have an itch on the side of my head. Those of you that looked away and then saw my glasses all tilted, like, huh? Is something wrong with my camera? No, it's just my face. I'm that ugly. You could tell on Ronda Rousey's face when she came to the ring that she was going to lose. She had boo-boo face coming down the ramp. She wasn't in it. She was not. Her heart and her head weren't in it because she was. You could tell she was butthurt on her face. I personally, I'm personally, I'd be fine if we never saw her again. To me, she's up there with Goldberg in terms of just like useless. And when Charlotte Flair cannot pull a match out of your ass and get you more than 2 stars like Dave Meltzer gave them, you know you have a problem. Especially someone that is talented as Ronda Rousey and had a great match a couple of years ago at her first WrestleMania in that tag match with her and Angle versus Triple H and Steph. And she looked great in that.
Well, it's like I told you in the chat when we were watching the matches. I mean, that match went 15 minutes too long, and it was bowling shoe ugly for 95% of it.
Time of the match, 18 minutes and 30 seconds. It was
okay, 10 minutes too long. It felt longer to me.
Third longest match of the night.
It felt like they were going for 25, and that's why I kind of said 15 minutes too long.
Actually, I'd like to point out it is of the weekend, the 4th longest match of the entire weekend. B. Favorite and least favorite.
Favorite match of the weekend for me, and this is by a hair, Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins is 1A on that list for favorite match of the weekend, but Bianca and Becky, in terms of open to close, because you had the superstar entrances with Becky and the luxury car, and then you had Bianca with the Texas Southern University marching band, which was awesome. But then they went into the match, and the tension was palpable. Becky did a great job selling the fact that she was pissed about nothing was working, but then again, so did Bianca, because nothing she was trying was working. And that match, I'm pretty sure that one went 10 minutes plus.
Yeah, 1910.
Yeah, I could tell it was going on long, but I didn't mind that one.
3rd longest match of the night.
That was 19 minutes. I did not mind investing.
Sorry, 3rd longest match of the weekend.
Right.
There were only 2 matches of the entire weekend that went plus 20.
And then the least favorite for me was Omos and Bobby Lashley. Because
I find that so much. it wasn't a great match. It was a great story because it was, even though Bobby Lashley is a massive human being himself, but they still played a David and Goliath kind of thing. Like, how do you knock this big, gigantic monstrosity off his feet? I thought it told a story, and it was tactical in that. The fact that Corey Graves on commentary kept emphasizing the spear to the back, I thought that was brilliant.
But I think therein lies the issue, is that I know why Omos is there. And I know why they're investing so much time and energy and effort into trying to get him over. For me, it's just not working. So I look at that and I think, okay, this is a spot that you could have reserved for Ricochet. This is a spot you could have reserved for Finn Balor. This is a spot you could have reserved for any of the other people who were thrown onto the SmackDown before WrestleMania or the Raw after, because we don't have anything for you. Sorry.
Well,
So that's why I kind of go to that one, and I'm thinking, why? I know the stereotypical, you need your behemoth and your gargantuan and oh my god and all that stuff. I've never been into that sort of thing, and you guys know that about me. I grew out of that, after my preteen years. Not really caring so much about 7 foot tall, and it just doesn't interest me.
Isaac, what say you, man? Favorite, least favorite?
Okay, here we go. I have to say my first thought was favorite match was Becky Lynch, Bianca, just because they told a good story, and I like the match. I like the pacing of it. Least favorite, and this is just me personally, I really kind of wish that Edge and AJ would have just stayed with them. This is my you don't have to. You can give me that look all you want. Give me that look. I don't care.
Can we have security stand by? Can we just have them ready just in case?
Bring security on.
The jobbers, the jobbers, make sure they all have their polo shirts. Mikey needs a 4X.
This is my opinion.
Go.
This is my opinion. I let you have your moment. I didn't say it. I can't believe he said that, but I'm saying it. You know what? I wish that Damian Priest had not gotten involved in the end and just let it be them.
He didn't get involved. Standing there.
Huh?
He didn't get involved. He was standing there. And then AJ looked over. Damian Priest didn't do a damn thing except just stand there. I hate the fact that everybody's like, oh, he got involved. No, he didn't. He was there. That's not getting involved. Was he supposed to be there? No. But did he get involved? No. I respect your opinion. I wholeheartedly disagree with it.
I'm with Patrick on this one. He did not get involved.
I don't go with the flow with everybody, and that's okay.
Okay.
You have your opinions.
We will come back to this in just a little bit. We do have night one to get through first, and then but trust me, boys and girls, we will come back to this. Isaac, you're on deck. I'll just put it to you that way. We had some really good matches in night one. We also had some matches that weren't really all that great. We're not going to talk about the Usos versus Nakamura and Rick Boogs for one simple reason. Rick Boogs got seriously hurt, which sucked. And that's what caused that match to be the clunker that it was. I have one major problem with night one, and it deals with Drew and Corbin. I still don't think anybody should have kicked out of End of Days. I said it was going to happen a couple of weeks ago, but I still think you should have protected that finisher because it's one of the most unique finishers in wrestling. I hate the Happy Corbin gimmick. Jesus Christ, I hate the Happy Corbin gimmick, and I hate Madcap Moss. I hate the whole damn thing. It's stupid as hell. It's about as stupid as BTE is. But
let me ask you a question about that then. You think the move should be protected, or you think Baron Corbin has worked to the point where he deserves to have a finisher like that protected?
Both.
Because I guess I just don't see the body of work that justifies something like that being protected.
Corbin himself is not he's a good wrestler. He's on the level of, say, like Sheamus and The Miz. You know, you don't get crap out of him, but you also don't get anything, you know,
eye-opening,
instant classic.
Okay.
But his finisher does, you know, if you were to give a great finisher to a Sheamus, a Miz, a Baron Corbin, someone like that, and give them a great finish, that gives them something over everybody else along that tier. And because of that, yeah, I think End of Days should have been a little bit more protected than that. You know, and if you're going to have somebody kick out of it, let it be a more high profile situation. Let it be a title match. Let it be the end of some massive feud, not some half-assed feud that they've been doing for however long that Corbin and Moss have been feuding with I wasn't a fan of that. You guys got anything to say about that one before we move on?
I do not.
Isaac?
I'm good with that. Should have been protected a little bit more. I think.
Now we get to the first surprise of WrestleMania. Logan Paul didn't suck.
It's clear that he was working hard.
Yes,
he wanted to acquit himself.
Yes,
you
know. Because everybody was looking at him as, okay, yeah, this is going to be kind of a joke. They were, I even read a couple of, comparisons like, okay, he's going to end up being a lot like Snooki. Nuh-uh. He was, I'm not going to say he was on the level of Bad Bunny. He was definitely on the level of Stephen Amell.
He was a lot closer to Bad Bunny than he was to Snooki. I mean, we'll put it that way.
He's on the level of Stephen Amell.
Yeah.
I would put, we were talking several weeks ago about the greatest celebrity appearances in a wrestling ring. I'd put him high on that list. I mean, he's not Bad Bunny, but he's definitely Stephen Amell. And they looked, the whole match was great. Dominic Mysterio, looked like he belonged in a WrestleMania ring. And I was impressed by that. Dominic raised his game. By the way, much love on Dominic's gear for the match, paying homage to Eddie Guerrero, paying homage to his dad.
I'm your papi.
But the one thing I loved about this match is over, and The Miz turned on Logan Paul. And I love this because you think if The Miz, the heel, is going to turn on his partner, the celebrity, he's going to get booed more. Nope, he got cheered.
I did not see that coming, actually.
I didn't either.
I saw the sneer, I saw the look of duration on Miz's face as he turned to look at Logan Paul. I'm like, oh my God, he's about to do something to Paul. What the hell?
Yeah. But it was a good match. Meltzer gave it 3.5. And I agree with it.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. Okay.
It didn't suck. You guys got anything on that one?
I will say, as much as I sat here 2 weeks ago and bemoaned the extent to which there was celebrity placement in this WrestleMania, I will say that every celebrity they used delivered.
Oh God, yeah.
In 1,000 times over, and I'm not gonna ruin the takes on everything else, but every celebrity they counted on, delivered.
We'll get into that after we talk about all three celebrity matches, and then we go from that. And here's the part I loved about night one. They gave us that match, and everybody's a little pumped about that match. And this is the point, ladies and gentlemen, where WWE doubles down and pushes the pedal all the way to the floor, because we go from this to Becky and Bianca. And my God in heaven, this, in my opinion, wasn't my favorite match of the entire WrestleMania weekend, but it was damn sure the best. I have come to the belief Bianca Belair, don't get me wrong, I'm not giving Bianca all the credit in this. Becky Lynch gets as 50% of the credit on this as well. But Bianca Belair might be the single most clutch performer WWE has right now.
Agreed.
They more clutch than Roman right now. And Roman's clutch.
I cannot think, actually, now that you say that, I cannot think of a situation. I'd have to go back and just start watching match after match after match. And I'm not talking about, Joe Average match on SmackDown.
Right.
I'm talking about the pay-per-view, a day one type situation, or a Royal Rumble type situation, or a WrestleMania situation. I can't, even back to NXT, I cannot think of a clunker that she's been involved in.
The spotlight's on her. She over delivers. They used to refer to John Cena as Big Match John. You're kind of coming up on Big Match Bianca right now.
I'd say she'd be fine with that.
Oh yeah. She would totally be fine with that. She is we talk about freak athletes in pro wrestling. She's on that list.
Yep.
Ooh, boy, is she on that list.
Yeah.
There aren't too many women you see that can do a 450. There also aren't that many women that you can see that can do a 450. They can also pick up someone the size of Dewdrop for the kiss of death, the burning hammer. Yeah. Isaac.
Okay. I'm gonna completely agree with everything you just said. I know you're just like, are you kidding me? But she's a freak of nature when it comes to, when they say she's the fastest, the strongest, the smart. Yeah, we're starting to see it, and you're starting to prove it, and you're on another level. And I'm glad to see that she's getting the shine that she deserves to get. Um, that match was crazy. I'm not gonna sit here and even try to act like, oh, it wasn't. It was crazy. I love the timing of it, and they both played their parts. They did a fantastic job. Great match.
I loved it. And then we get to the second longest match of the entire weekend, longest match of night one. Seth freaking Rollins losing to the mystery opponent.
Who's the mystery opponent?
The second worst kept secret in the last 12 months in pro wrestling. It was, in fact,
Lance Storm.
Not so dashing, definitely not Stardust, the American bleeping nightmare himself, Cody Rhodes. The match itself, Meltzer gave it 4.5. I don't agree with that. I thought it was 3 3/4, 4, not 4.5, because it's not nearly. Meltzer gave Becky Bianca 4.5. Cody Seth was not 4.5. If Becky Bianca's 4.5, I can't abide by that. Comment on that and then let me continue. Go. B.
If I'm going to rank it, it's not Becky Bianca, but it's pretty close.
Oh yeah.
4.25. I would easily go 4.25 if we're going to do the Bryan ranking system.
Yeah.
Which, if you want to subscribe to that, there's a link in the description down below. Because this match was a clash of styles.
Yes.
You know, you've got the aerial stuff that Seth wants to do, and Cody is very much now a ground-based, you know, from his time in AEW and his time in New Japan and all that. He's become a very ground-based competitor.
And
He was and very technical, you know, and not that Seth can't be, but there was a lot of like push and pull, yin and yang in this match.
Yes.
Where Seth made Cody come after him, and then Cody's like, "No, you're going to come after me, and you're going to, you know."
It was very cat and mousey. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But like I go back to my point, I still don't think it was 4.5. I don't agree with Meltzer on that. Here's a point I wanted to make, and this is something for all of us out here. What I am the most surprised about was the fact that there was zero editing that WWE did to the presentation of Cody Rhodes. The entrance, the music, the gear, straight up AEW Cody Rhodes. Wrestling has more than one royal family. Hit Kingdom by Downstate, come up through the floor wearing the Homelander gear. And this is the point that I loved. And this is where I think WWE separates themselves from everybody else on the planet. Granted, you will get WrestleMania withstanding. You generally will get better matches from AEW or New Japan or even Impact than you will WWE, except for WrestleMania. But in terms of television production and how they present their talent, nobody touches WWE, because Cody's entrance, same damn entrance, both places. Cody Rhodes looked like he was a mega star in one night in WWE, where, yeah, he was a mega star in AEW. I'm not saying he wasn't, but just the presentation of it, like, okay, yeah, this guy is something. And I thought it was, the presentation of Cody Rhodes was everything that it should have been, maybe a little bit more. And then the match was great. Again, Seth Rollins is on my list of guys who just can't have a bad match. But I was thrilled at the way that Cody was presented. Take it, guys.
For me, that presentation continued onto Monday Night Raw. It was the one thing about Monday Night Raw that was actually worth watching. Cody comes out to deliver a promo, and this has been a knock on Cody. I see that, you know, the Twitter stands, you know, oh my God, every time Cody talks, he's got to mention his father. The motivation is different for every wrestler you meet. Cody's motivation is very clearly family. And he's unapologetic about that, and you should make no apologies for that. If that is your motivation, if you are driven by wanting to measure up to your father and what his accomplishments were, then so be it. I don't have a problem with him referencing it in a promo. But Cody very clearly in this promo explained, you know, for those of you who might not know me, let me give you a little backstory. And he gave us a little backstory. And then he outlined his aspirations. And then I think my favorite part of the whole thing, Seth Rollins comes out and very Seth freaking Rollins like, yeah, there's cackling, but there's also a handshake. As if to say, okay, you don't have to worry about me anymore. You know, that was actually somewhat refreshing for me to see, because game recognizes game, obviously. So, and then getting back to the match itself, I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I was expecting Cody to be neutered in some way, but he wasn't. Cody was doing everything he wanted to do. So was Seth, and they delivered one of the best matches I saw all weekend, bar none.
Big man.
Yeah, here we go. the overall presentation of Cody Rhodes, I was surprised. I honestly was surprised that they let him use that music. The way that he came in, everything. I was really, really shocked by that. I was happy that they let him do it. Very happy that they let him do it. The match between him and Seth Rollins, I can sit here and say it was c'est magnifique. It was great. The pacing of it, the fact that they got in what they needed to get in, they both look fantastic. I love the match, love the finish. Um, I like the homage to his debt to the late great American Dusty Rhodes and the flip flop flutter and fly. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Love to see that before he hit the third one. I think that was a nice little tribute to him. I'm curious. I'm happy to see where it went. I want to see if they do it right and they go in the right direction. Um, the promo the next night was good, but as Patrick said earlier, the Monday night after Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania is usually the biggest night. You see a lot more people show up. And they didn't have, and again, they dropped the football. Bottom line. And that's what made me so just upset because they had so many things they could have done. That's all I'm saying. And if you mention Elias, like he was like,
Stop. We're getting way too far into the weeds. We're not talking about Monday Night Raw because we still got another night. We got a night and a half of WrestleMania still to talk about, and we're at 51 minutes. So, with all due respect, I'm going to stop you there and.
I will say shout out to Corey Graves for his line about shedding skin.
Yes,
that was a master line, and I know RJ referenced it in the show chat. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, that's what's happening here. And that's also, I think, the proof we need that. And by all accounts, I mean, the reporting that happened and the interviews that Cody gave, very professional, respectful conversations with Vince about the treatment of him. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess, essentially is how it went. And I trust your judgment. Whatever you want to do, go for it.
Let's go ahead and move on and be very quick about this one because I really don't want to talk about this particular match. Charlotte Flair beat Ronda Rousey via pinfall in 18 minutes and 30 seconds. God, this match was a freaking slog. Does anybody have anything worthwhile to talk about, say, as far as this match, other than good God Almighty, it sucked?
I do. Thank God it's over. Done.
Serious question for Patrick.
All right.
Put your Booker hat on. Other than chopping time off of the match, what would you have done to make this match tolerable?
Give Charlotte Flair a different opponent.
That's a cop-out. It has to be Ronda.
No, it's not. It is not a cop-out, and I will tell you why. What did we see out of Ronda Rousey? What did I say earlier? Ronda Rousey came to boo-boo face.
Yeah.
Eric Bischoff references this on his podcast all the time when he talks about James Storm. When James Storm was booked to lose, you could see it in his face. I've heard Bischoff when they were doing watch-alongs of TNA stuff. James Storm or Beer Money will come down to the ring, and Bischoff will say, "I don't even remember this match, but I know just by looking at James Storm, they're going to lose this. They were booked to lose this."
The good ones don't do that.
I literally saw that in Ronda Rousey's face, and her work in the ring, in my opinion, showed it. So how you save this match? You give Charlotte Flair a different opponent. Where the hell's Asuka been? We decided. Apparently, looking on Twitter just a few minutes ago, apparently we're now seeing vignettes starting tonight for the return of Lacey Evans. Why not rush? Why not move that along. There were so many things that you could have done. Why not give me Sasha and Charlotte instead of putting Sasha in a tag match with Naomi? Which, don't get me wrong, the tag match was good, but why not give me Sasha and Charlotte instead of giving me
Alexa and Charlotte?
Yeah, where the hell was Alexa Bliss? Because you could have run that back from Extreme Rules. But no, we're not going to do that. We have to put the box office in there. Yeah, well, the box office was complete crap. And here's the sad thing: a 55, I don't know how old he is. Hang on, I'm just for reference.
Stone Cold's 57.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was going. A 57-year-old man had a better match than one of the greatest athletes in the last 10 years in Ronda Rousey. Steve Austin and Kevin Owens. That match, Meltzer gave it 3.5. And I'll agree with that. There's no way that should have been 3.5 stars. Austin bumped his ass off for Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens bumped his ass off for Stone Cold Steve Austin. That match should not have been as good as it was. It would have told a great story regardless. It would have been entertaining regardless. But it was a good match. It wasn't just a good story with a good payoff and oh my God, it's Steve Austin, nostalgia, yay, middle fingers, woo, Steve Weisers and everything else. No, it was good. It shouldn't have been. So please explain to me how you go from 4.5 star with Bianca and Becky to 4.5 star with Cody and Seth, down to 2 with Charlotte and Ronda, and then back up to 3.5 for a 57-year-old dude and a fat guy.
It's when the talent in question in the 2-star match is not invested properly. Because if Ronda had a little bit of, wherewithal and give a damn and stuff like that, it could have been a little bit better.
I got a question for both of you, just to interject. Now, we all know that Ronda was boohooing about not being the main event on night 1 and thinking that, we felt like Stone Cold and Kevin Owens should have been mid day 1 and had someone else at the main event on day 1, whether it be, Charlotte and Ronda or Becky Lynch and Bianca. Do you think we would have the same feeling? Was it the right call for them to have, Ronda not be the main event and have Stone Cold, even though he wasn't an active wrestler, for the one night only at that main event spot? Go ahead, Patrick.
Do you feel strongly enough that you need to jump in first?
I think we're about to say the same thing, so go ahead.
There is no way under God's hot sun, you're no chance you put Steve Austin, who hasn't been in a ring in a match in 19 years. There's no way you put him anywhere other than the main event. No chance. You are talking about one of the most popular wrestlers of all time. If in terms of just sheer popularity, it's him, Taker, Flair, and I don't know who else in terms of the Mount Rushmore of like popular wrestlers. No, The Rock probably would be the 4th one, just to be completely honest, in terms of just like sheer popularity. No. Ronda Rousey has no business. Charlotte Flair, Screw Rousey. Charlotte Flair has no business sniffing the main event when Stone Cold Steve Austin is on that card. There is a single person on night one that even remotely has the right to sniff the main event if Stone Cold Steve Austin's there. Literally looking at the entire card, there's 2 names that you might argue get to sniff that main event aside from Austin, and they were the main event on night 2.
I was going to say the same thing. I would have said a little bit different, but that I sit Ronda down and say, quite frankly, there's a track record with Stone Cold that you don't have. You know, and that's not an insult to you. It's just a fact, unfortunately. Okay. And we're in Dallas on top of that.
Exactly. And also, the proof is in the pudding, because what kind of reaction did Austin get? What kind of reaction did Ronda get?
Crickets.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was about to say. Crickets. It was like
indifference.
Yeah, and
I didn't even care enough to boo.
No, and I don't think it did Ronda and Charlotte. Don't get me wrong. The placement on the card was god awful for them. The match itself was god awful, but it didn't do them any favors. That you literally just gave them 4.5 star match, 4.5 star match, and then here you go. The crowd was out of gas. This was the Nikki Bella match of the night. You know, hey, here's, we just had Taker and Shawn. Let's put the Bellas out there before the main event. That's what this was. You know, I make the reference all the time. There you go. That's my one per night. 3.5 stars for Austin and Owens. Then Owens with a great stunner cell at the end of the night. Byron Saxton with another great stunner cell. Thank God Byron didn't get kicked south of the border this time. So yay. But we'll get back to more stunners later. Move to night 2, and we'll just kind of breeze through some of these. Bobby Lashley and Omos got a 0.5 star. That's all we'll say.
Richly deserved.
Yeah. And that's mostly on Omos. As I said earlier, RK Bro, Street Profits, and Alpha Academy got 4.25 from Meltzer. I disagree with that. I'd go higher. I'd go 4.5. It was that good. I am really starting to love Chad Gable. Holy crap. And then after the match is over, you get the big toast with the Profits and RK Bro and Gable Steveson. And then Chad Gable slaps the cup out of his hand, and Gable Steveson throws him halfway across the ring. Hey, Ridge Holland, if you're going to do a belly-to-belly suplex, that's how you do it. That's how you do it, you stupid bastard. Other than the RKOs to end it, any highlights of this match? I got one.
For me, it's just the athleticism of everybody.
Yes.
I mean, even Otis is no slouch.
Oh God, no.
No, I mean, but it's clear to me how much fun Riddle and Randy are having together.
Yes. That is a tag team I did not expect to really enjoy, and I'm like, oh God, yeah, these guys are fun. Isaac, anything from you?
That match was very entertaining. I love the athleticism of everyone that was involved. And that RKO off the top rope. Wow! Same end of feet, perfect timing. They both pulled it up. It just looks like it's fun.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we love.
And Randy Orton is always good in the ring. I don't think the only time Randy Orton is capable of having a bad match is if he's in the ring with Sheamus. You can tell just on the look on Randy Orton's face, he's having an absolute freaking blast right now. Just in terms of like in-ring work, he is living his best life right now. And I love it. You know what else I loved, and I got a feeling I'm might be on my own on this one. Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville was fun as shit. It was so. Don't get me wrong. It was no wrestling classic, but this is where I mentioned earlier in the show. You get your comedy, you get your sports entertainment, you got all of that right here. It was literally, and I explained this to my mother because she asked me earlier in the week. She asked me what happened at WrestleMania, and I was like, "Remember the guy from Jackass?" She went, "Yeah." Why? I went, "He wrestled Sami Zayn." Oh God! I'm like, no, Mom. Imagine imagine an episode of Jackass happening in a wrestling ring. That was this match, and that's exactly what it was. It was an episode of Jackass. So many props, so many gimmicks, but it was just funny. Shout out underrated MVP of the entire pay-per-view. Wee Man picking up Sami Zayn and holding him up like it's Cesaro slamming Big Show. That was impressive. But Sami Zayn does not get the credit he deserves because he bumped his ass off for Johnny freaking Knoxville. And it wasn't, whereas Ronda Rousey did not look, you could clearly tell she did not want to do the job. Sami Zayn was like, sign my ass up. This is going to be a blast. And he even tweeted out earlier today, that was one of the most fun, rewarding matches of my entire career. Thank you guys. God, it was fun. So let me ask you guys this. First, I want your opinion on the match. And then I would like to know your favorite spot of the match. I'm going to torture Brian with this one. Isaac, you want to go first?
Okay. Favorite part of the match. I like the match. It was very entertaining. I was very impressed by Reman picking him up and holding him for a few seconds. That's some strength right there.
Yeah.
The bowling ball. Oh my God. I was just cringing like, oh,
Seen that since New Jack in ECW.
I don't care. I don't care if it was New Jack. I don't care what it was, but that right there just made me cringe. And the hand, the face, just I was like, oh, he just. But yeah, that's why I loved it right there. And I shouldn't be talking about anybody slapping anybody right now because of that other.
B, before you go, let me ask you this, Isaac. Was it just the spots, or was it Pat McAfee on commentary too? Because you see the hand, like no baby powder needed on that one. I'm like, oh come on, this is just freaking gold.
You see when like Pat McAfee is right now is on another level when it comes to
Everything.
When you look back at the late '90s and you think of Jerry Lawler and Puppy, you think of something like that, or just his commentary or his one-liners that he would say just off the cuff, and you think of they're doing that and they're just perfect. That's all I'll say.
Fine, before B goes, I never thought I'd see the day where both Corey Graves and Pat McAfee are competing over who does the best on color commentary. And boys and girls, let me tell you, it's a competition. There's no clear winner. Graves is amazing on Monday nights in his own special, amazing way. And Pat McAfee is Pat freaking McAfee. B, your thoughts on the match and then your favorite spot. And I know this is gonna be tough for you to do.
I fully expect someone to make the argument that if I am all Team Orange Cassidy and I am all Team Toru Yano, then why on earth would I not like this? But again, it goes back to I never watched the show. I don't.
You don't have to watch watch the show to be able to laugh your ass off at this.
I did chuckle a time or two.
He chuckled.
The spot with the mouse trap table probably didn't hurt as much as I think it did.
No, it didn't.
But Sammy did land high and tight on that table.
Yes, he did.
And if even one or two of those mouse traps got him in the small of the back, that could have been a bit of a problem. What I appreciate the most about this match is that Sami Zayn clearly went in there with marching orders about we need to make Johnny Knoxville look good, and we need to bump and that sort of thing. And Sammy, I agree with you, Patrick, that he was more than happy to do that.
I don't think those were marching orders. I think that was Sami Zayn going, no, we're going balls out on this one, boys.
Right. And I get why you need. This was a palate cleanser match. You need palate cleansers because you can't just have 5-star classic after 5-star classic. That's an awful lot of pressure for any promotion to deliver upon, and very few can, and usually don't.
Right.
So you need matches like this, like the hardcore invitational from WrestleMania 2000, for example. You need palate cleansers like this.
Yeah, and don't forget the gimmick battle royal from WrestleMania 17.
Yes, all of those.
Yes.
I was shocked about Wee Man. Like he came out and did the suplex or the muscle buster or whatever it was. That shocked me. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. That's but to his credit, I knew it was going to be ridiculous, and boy was it.
And beautiful, in my honest opinion.
How many stars did Dave Meltzer give this one?
No rating given at time of writing.
Oh.
So I don't know. Let's go ahead and move on. Meltzer gave the women's tag match 2.5 stars. Sasha and Naomi picking up the titles over Carmella and Zelina, Nia and Nia. I'm sorry, Nia, Natty and Shayna, and then Liv and Rhea. I thought it was good. I didn't think anything really stood out.
Agreed.
Agree.
I mean, Sasha and Naomi's entrance was pretty dope. I'd love to get my hands on the car that Sasha was driving. Sweet Lord. That thing was beautiful. But I'd rather go ahead and skip ahead to the next match, because this match I had the highest expectations for of any match on the card. I expected to be let down. I was not. Edge and AJ Styles. It wasn't the best match on the card of the entire weekend, but it was the one that had, in my opinion, had the highest bar to reach, and it got there. Let me just say this: Edge's entrance was freaking gnarly. I talked about it several weeks ago when he started using the other side by Alter Bridge as his theme, that it made so much sense. And then coming up on the throne with the skulls on the ends of the armrest, and the pyramid of fire, kind of symbolizing the mountain of omnipotence that he keeps talking about. I thought it was so good. And then the match happened, and it was everything that you would expect from AJ Styles and Edge.
This is the match that they were hoping Charlotte and Ronda would have.
Yes,
I think in their minds, now Charlotte and Ronda are not on the same level as AJ and Edge, but no. I think there were similar expectations for Charlotte and Ronda, and they didn't deliver, whereas Edge and AJ delivered in
I'll give you a better. This was the match that we all wanted AJ and Nakamura to have. Yeah. And we didn't get that one. I will not say we got everything we wanted and more, but we got everything we wanted out of AJ and Edge. Because there's really and truly, you can't do much more when it's AJ and Edge. That bar is kind of high. That's like, go back into, looking back with 2020 hindsight. That's like going back and, okay, I'm going to watch Flair and Steamboat. Bar's pretty high on that one, boys and girls. You go into that with a very high set of expectations, and there's really not much room beyond the bar to excel.
Right.
So in this particular case, you just want the match to live up to expectations. And it did. Surprisingly enough. And I'm so glad it did, because this was a dream match for me. Because I love AJ, and I'm an unapologetic Edge mark. I don't really care about the whole Damian Priest thing, because like I argued earlier, he didn't get involved. He was just standing there, and it was a distraction. He got as involved as the Bucks did when Hangman beat Kenny. So, you guys and your thoughts on AJ and Edge?
The events of this match make a little more sense now that I've seen what Edge apparently is concocting.
Oh, yeah.
Because the other part of Monday that made a little bit, that was watchable was Edge coming out and explaining himself. Damian Priest has seen the light. Damian Priest wants, what I have and things like that. And thinking about where they could take this is interesting.
Bet you a dollar I can tell you who's next.
Rhea Ripley.
Yep. Rhea's next.
A darker evolution.
Yes, please.
And that'd be great. I mean, because it's what Edge was trying to, tried to do with fair to middling success with La Familia back in the day when he was with Vicky, and I think he could have a bit bigger of an impact now.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Ryder and Hawkins didn't amount to what they thought they would amount to.
Well, Well, Matt Cardona now.
Yeah, Matt Cardona is doing pretty good for himself now. I must admit, but it's intriguing. Okay, what if you take Evolution and you make it a lot darker, and you make it a lot more macabre, and you make it a lot more sinister?
Better one for you. Take the Brood and make it like more threatening.
Yeah. Edge is like, okay, this is the Brood, but I'm in charge now, and when we're actually going to have a stable of people.
Yeah, and it's not going to be just a gimmick; it's going to be a legit threat. That's looking at Isaac. Anything you want to add? Because we're going to skip the next match.
Okay.
Why?
Would you put Alexa?
Go ahead.
Would you put Alexa Bliss in this fashion as well?
If you're going to put Rhea in there, no.
Okay.
You're either gonna spin Alexa back toward the dark side, which I don't think we really need to see that, because Alexa's darker character is still that kind of that silly creepy, and this needs to be darker and grittier and violent, and that ain't Alexa Bliss. That's Rhea Ripley.
I would say no to that also, Isaac, for the simple fact that I think what you're going to see with Alexa, and this would be me, the silly creepy is still, in my brain anyway, kind of attached to Bray Wyatt and The Fiend. And if I'm a producer for Alexa, I'm going to sit down and talk with her about, do we want to start moving away from that? We can still be possessed, we can still be, or even if we don't even want to do that, if we just want to turn you face, because maybe now we need some more face characters on SmackDown or Raw, whatever show she winds back up on, how can we do that? Because we need to start getting people away from the idea of you're still connected to The Fiend. That'd be my thoughts on Alexa.
All right, well, let's go ahead and skip the New Day and Sheamus and Ridge Holland match. I'll simply say two things. One, F Ridge Holland. And two, we've really turned Pete Dunne into Scrappy Doo. Let me at him. I'll splat him. That's literally what they have turned Pete Dunne into. And that's
right
all.
along.
They named him Butch.
You said you wanted to skip the match, so
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we get to the next match. You got 3 3/4 stars, boys and girls. Let the greatness that is Pat Mother Bleepin' McAfee wash all over you. We talked about celebrities in this particular WrestleMania showing out. We got everything we expected out of Pat McAfee and probably a little bit more. This guy might be the most charismatic person in all of WWE. He had that crowd eating out of the palm of his hand, and he hadn't even stepped in the ring yet. I will tell you, in my opinion, the only thing Pat McAfee did not need, he didn't need the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. He could have come out on his own with that. Seven Nation Army playing. That was just absolutely insane of that, in terms of like crowd intensity with that entrance. The only person that topped that type of visceral reaction from the crowd was Cody.
Right.
My God in heaven, it was so good. Austin Theory is going to be a player in this industry. Holy crap, that kid's gonna be good. He's already good. Holy crap, he's gonna be good. McAfee box jumping from the ring to the top rope and then hitting that superplex.
Wasn't prepared for that.
He did that. I was like, oh shit. Because dude, I only can recall one or two people ever doing that, and one of those guys was named Shelton Benjamin. I mean, I don't ever want to hear any other football fan in history say that punters aren't athletes ever again, because damn it. And I got to be honest. And Meltzer gave the next thing that we saw -2 stars. But I don't really have a problem with Vince getting in the ring and getting involved in that and having a match with McAfee afterwards and beating the piss out of him. You know why? Continues the story. Even though it was to watch, I didn't have a problem with it. As long as we go somewhere with it. If it was just a vehicle to have Stone Cold Steve Austin come out and stun everybody with a pulse, then there you go. But if we're going to continue along with this and have a McMahon versus McAfee kind of deal, I'm okay with that.
You might see that down the road.
Anything you guys want to say about this before we get to the post-match festivities?
I was really shocked when he did that jump to the third rope. That was very, very impressive. I contribute that hops to someone I was watching on YouTube today, and that was Vince Carter Duncan. That's impressive. I don't care what you think. You're right. Shelton Benjamin, Pat McAfee. I was watching the dunk specifically where Vince Carter dunked over that 7-foot guy in the Olympics. And you're sitting there. Yeah, that's all I can say about that. And I was very impressed. So,
Damn ridiculous. B, anything else before we talk about post-match?
No, I actually don't have anything else about this one.
Last breaks. Here comes Steve Austin. spears, stunners. Let's grade them all one by one. Letter grades only. The stunner to Austin Theory.
B+.
B plus, yeah. B plus.
B. I give him a B.
Okay. Skipping one. Pat McAfee.
A.
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 Is there a lower grade than F? Because holy shit. Look, Vince McMahon has taken a series of just god-awful stunners in his life. That was
If that's his gimmick.
That was the worst one I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was bad.
Hideous.
I actually feel sorry for him taking that stunner because that wasn't god awful. That was worse than like Double Z.
The way he went down,
Stunner.
I thought he had torn both quads again. It looked like the way he went down looked a lot like when he went down at the Rumble that year when he blew out both quads. I'm just saying. It was a little bit tough to watch. Like, ooh, we've already had somebody blow a quad. We don't need another one. But for me, the highlight, and I got to find a gif of this somewhere, is Pat McAfee on the floor, laid out, still chugging a beer. I'm like, God, we do not deserve, as wrestling fans, we do not deserve Pat McAfee. He is a god amongst wrestlers and wrestling personalities. And I got to be honest about one thing. I want to go back to the match for just a second. I cannot believe I'm about to say this. Michael Cole's commentary during this match had me by the throat. It was riveting. It was Michael Cole is pulling you into this match along with him because you're feeling his emotion because he just straight up said, much like how when he was the heel, he would express, his own views and be such a Ms. Mark and everything else. He flat out says, look, I can't be impartial in this. Pat McAfee's one of my best friends. I can't be impartial in this. Come on, Pat. Come on, Pat.
And I don't care that Vince is sitting right over there. I'm still going to.
No, and it was Michael Cole was channeling his best Jim Ross with Austin in the ring. And it was so freaking good. We have shit on Michael Cole for years and years and years. Michael Cole's game on commentary, ever since Pat McAfee came on board to WWE, Michael Cole is a completely different commentator now. A completely different play-by-play guy, to the point where I like him. But at WrestleMania, during this Pat McAfee match, oh my God, there wasn't a single play-by-play guy in any combat sport that could have gotten my attention more than Michael Cole. I loved it. The only thing Michael Cole didn't do was cuss. The only thing he didn't do was cuss. I would have loved it. Because, he almost cussed at SummerSlam when Brock came back. Holy! And then Pat McAfee, say it. I would have loved a holy shit with the box jump to the top rope. I would have loved it if he would have busted out a holy shit right there. Especially with Vince sitting right there. That would have been amazing. But everything about that presentation of that match that got your attention from the jump, and it had you the whole way. That was the most captivating match of the night, and that is saying a lot because Bianca and Becky had your attention. Cody and Seth had your attention. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Johnny and Sammy had your attention. And the sad thing is, after all of this, you still got the main event. I literally watched this match and I'm like, knowing that and Edge and AJ had your attention. I'm literally watching this going, Roman and Brock ain't got a chance in hell. Because WWE literally burnt their crowd out for 2 nights. And now the biggest match of all time, which wasn't bad. I honestly think this might have been the second best Brock Roman match we've ever gotten. Best one being WrestleMania 31 when Seth cashed in. I thought it was really, really good. From entrances to introductions to the match itself. I love the fact that Brock Lesnar introduced himself. That was freaking hilarious. I can go on about this, but I want your take on the main event with Roman becoming the undisputed Universal Champion of the world.
I've watched this match now 3 different times. And at no point yet have I been able to watch it in a vacuum. And I think that's where it suffers for me.
How so? Explain. Explain what do you mean by in a vacuum?
I think because we've seen Roman versus Brock so many times. It was a hopeless amount of expectation to live up to. And then the fact that we saw so many other banger matches that we've already spent time lauding. It's in my mind, this match suffered the same way Ronda and Charlotte suffered. I'm not saying that the match was as bad as Ronda Charlotte.
Everybody's out of gas, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that.
And that's what happens, and that's maybe the one misstep the WWE makes when you put your title picture, you concentrate your title picture down to one match. That one match has to deliver. And
can I be honest, though? Unfortunately, that seems to happen a lot at WrestleMania because there's always that one match that steals the show.
Yeah.
And the main event happens. Savage and Steamboat did it to Hogan and Andre, even though Hogan and Andre would have been a massive box office draw no matter what else is on the card.
Taker and Shawn did it to Randy and Triple H.
Right. Hogan and Rock did it to Triple H and Jericho.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on of, shit, we got to follow that. Brock and Roman are literally sitting there. They're sitting there after night 1 going, damn it.
That's the one thing I think that saves the match for me is the presentation of both is flipped now.
Yes.
Because Brock is clearly the face. He's speaking for himself. He's doing all of those things that I've been wanting him to do.
And he's great at it.
But then it's that next question. Okay, where do we go from here?
Apparently, from what I saw on Twitter earlier during the show, it looks like it's Nakamura.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looks like it's Nakamura.
Hopefully not a one and done.
Probably, but at least we're getting somebody different.
Yeah. And Shin's the guy, and Shin's the guy that on paper anyway could take Roman into deep water again, the way Kevin Owens did, and the way Balor did, and the way some other people have, and make Roman do things that he's not necessarily comfortable doing.
Exactly, and that's why I'm interested to see what they do with this. Do I expect Nakamura to take the title off of Roman? Not a chance in hell. But it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Can I jump in real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. The match itself was good. I understand that, of course, Roman's injured from what everyone's saying and what I'm hearing. And this is one of the bigger problems that WWE is having and has had, is that they had no one else. They put all their eggs in one basket, and that basket's Roman. And if he gets hurt, there's no one legitimately that's going to take it off him, until he heals right now. And they built no one else up to take it off of him because it's all been one and done.
Right.
And
With respect, something that we've talked about ad nauseum on this show for the better part of the last couple of months.
but this is a legitimate problem. If you just unify the title, and the one guy that you are sitting here putting all your money on is hurt,
The injury can't be that bad if we're already looking at a potential program with him and Nakamura. Because if his injury was that bad, they still would have sucked it up, and he would have forfeited the title. Either Monday night or tonight on SmackDown. But that has not happened. So the injury can't be that bad. I think the reason that we got the promo that we got on Monday was to give it more time to see exactly what the issue with his shoulder and his arm really was. And then it came up to, okay, it's not that bad. We can play through it.
Right.
So I wouldn't hold a whole lot of water on the aspect of Roman being hurt. So now that we know it's not Brock, let me ask you guys a question. Who's the guy? Who's the one that takes the title for Roman?
I'm going to give you an answer I haven't given yet.
So help me God, if you say Simon Dean,
No.
I'm closer to your house now than I used to.
Fine. I wonder if you don't bring up, I still can't believe they're calling him this, Gunther, and you make him the guy that takes it off of him. Because now you have to invest some work in this, and you have to invest some time in this, but that's believable to me. Because he can match Roman power for power. He might even be more powerful than Roman.
Can I make
You've done some damage to the character, I think, with the name change and all that kind of stuff, but that's something.
It's going to get worse because I believe the rumor is they're calling up both Walter and Marcel Bartel. They're not calling up Fabian Eichner, and they're giving Marcel Bartel a new name as well, like Wolfgang, not Wolfgang, but something. And come to find out that the original name, just like how they almost screwed up with Gunther, was another Nazi officer. And I'm like, Jesus, you guys are freaking idiots. So anyway, moving right along. Isaac, how about you? Who do you think is going to be who do you think would be the guy?
I'm still going to go with either one or two. Just as a selling point, they did bring in Gunther in SmackDown tonight. Just so you know. I got a feeling it's either Drew for like SummerSlam, or they're gonna go back to Bobby Lashley. I really think those are the only two right now, legitimately, that can do it. And if I keep saying that they should have, if he hadn't gotten hurt, by Rich Holland, I would have said, Big E. But they're we all.
I agree with you on the Big E thing. If Big E hadn't been injured, I think Big E might have been the guy. I can't believe I'm going to say this name as the guy. Cody.
That's going to take a lot to get him up to that level.
No, I won't.
Yeah, well.
No.
When do you pull the trigger on that then?
Say what?
When do you pull the trigger on that then?
You can get this to where it needs to be by SummerSlam.
Yeah.
They have done more with less in the history of WWE. You can easily elevate Cody to that status easily by SummerSlam, and all you have to keep doing is have Cody indirectly reference the fact that he's chasing a ghost. Because that's essentially what he did in that promo on Monday. He's chasing the ghost of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. That's it. And it doesn't become Cody versus Roman. It's Cody versus Cody, and Roman's just in the way. Oh, it's totally doable.
I like that.
They won't do it because obviously I'm a better writer than these guys are. But you could easily do it with Cody, and you can make the audience feel with Cody. You could have a match beforehand. You could have this thing ready to roll by Money in the Bank, and then Cody not get it done at Money in the Bank, and then get it done at SummerSlam. You could slow play it, even though WWE doesn't slow play a damn thing, and you could have him lose it at SummerSlam and get it at Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. I don't think they're going to stretch it far enough out to WrestleMania Hollywood. I still think somehow, some way, The Rock is involved in Mania Hollywood. It would make too much damn sense. But I think Cody's the guy. I don't think they're going to waste the time, effort, and resources on presenting Cody Rhodes the same way they presented him in AEW to not do something with it. They're presenting him as if he were a top guy. They're not presenting someone as a top guy unless they plan on making him a top guy. You know, they didn't present the Shield as They presented the Shield as killers.
Right.
All of them became killers. They didn't present Edge and his new persona as They presented him as something. They did. AJ freaking Styles made his debut at the Rumble. They made a big deal out of him. He won the title at Money in the Bank. You can easily do this with Cody. Wouldn't surprise me if they do. It'd be awesome if they do, to be honest. At the same time, it'd be a complete slap in the face to AEW, which I think would be flipping hilarious. Not saying I'm an AEW hater, but I do want to say Tony Khan is an absolute moron for coming out and saying that coming out today on Twitter and saying that all the people that negatively interact with AEW accounts are all bots. Like, that is the single most delusional thing I have ever heard in my life. That's like, that's like conspiracy theory bullshit. COVID didn't happen. Sandy Hook was a myth. Crap like that. No. Yeah. 140,000 people at 2 nights of WrestleMania. Sure, TK. Moving right along. Before we talk about next week, do we have any final thoughts? Any bow wrapping that we would like to do on WrestleMania 38?
I do not actually. I've said everything I feel I need to say about it.
Big man.
I want to sit here and honestly take back what I said on the pregame of WrestleMania. They really did what they were supposed to do. Period. End of story. And I'm very happy that they put on a fantastic show because my expectations were this is going to be a shit show.
Isaac, I think we can all run that back and take that back because I think all three. I remember very, very distinctly. All three of us were pissing all over the show. My final thoughts on WrestleMania 38: top 3 manias of all time. Top 3, not and probably number 3, but it's up there. Top 5 for definite, but making a more of a controversial hot take. Top 3. Nobody's touching the greatest WrestleMania of all time now. 17. Nobody touches 17. That card was just redonkulous. So let's talk next week. So in our pre-show meeting, we learned that next week the big man up there in camera 2 will not be able to be here with us. So next week, Brian and I, we're going to have some fun. We are both going to queue up the old Peacock machine by our sides, and we are going to watch a match. I have a nominee, and maybe Brian has one, kind of spur of the moment. And if we both have nominees, let's have Isaac pick. And that'll be our match that we watch and live react to and have fun with and rip it apart and make fun of it and all that good stuff. Because the rule is it can't be a good match. It has to be either silly or god awful. So, Brian, do you have anything that you might want to?
I actually do not, just because, once we decided that we weren't doing a watch along of any kind tonight, I just kind of stopped thinking about it, thinking that I would have another couple of days to come up with one.
Well,
so I guess this means I'm at your mercy about what we're watching.
No, because here's what we'll do. I'll give 3, and I'll let Isaac pick. Are you okay with that? I promise you, I swear on the head of my daughter that none of them will be the god awful King of the Road match.
Okay.
I promise you. I will.
We do have to break new ground here.
Yes. Well, yes, we will break new ground. So the first one I want to throw out is just instant fun classic. Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville. Rewatch that, have fun with it. Make any kind of absurd comments that we want to. The next one, under the guise of god awful matches, I believe it was the Great Khali and Batista in a Punjabi prison match.
No, Batista was never in a Punjabi prison match. There's been 2 of them.
Was it?
It was Khali it was Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton.
Right.
And then Khali and Undertaker had one.
Okay. Then you know what?
Those have been the only 2.
Then you know what? Because it'll simply be worse because it was Khali. Let's do Khali Taker Punjabi prison match. So that's our second nominee. Nominee number 3. You mentioned it earlier. Wait
a minute. What's the one where Abdullah the Butcher winds up in the chair and the thing, you get electrocuted?
Halloween Havoc. I can't remember what year, but it's the Chamber of Horrors match.
I've never watched that match all the way through.
We're doing it. We're doing that one.
Okay.
We're doing that.
I got to broaden my horizons.
Thank you very much. You just ruined my night. I'm playing. Nah.
The other one I was gonna throw out because before you jumped in with that one, I was gonna throw out the from WrestleMania 2000, the Hardcore Battle Royal.
That would have been fine. I love that one.
But no, we got to do Chamber of Horrors match because that is so freaking terrible. So I can't remember what year Halloween Havoc that is, but we will figure it out next Friday. And that will be the match that we watch. We'll talk about some weekly stuff if something happens. But otherwise, get your popcorn ready, boys and girls, because Brian and I are going to play our own little episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Isaac, before we get out of here, any final thoughts?
Gentlemen, have fun.
Oh, we will.
And I would, I'll be back soon. I got some things I gotta take care of, but
he's on the run from the law. Just don't say anything, guys. Shh, shh, shh.
Wearing a shirt, that just highlights everything I'm doing. So yeah, we'll see. We're not gonna talk about what I'm doing. We don't talk about Bruno, so you know how it goes. We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking forward to this, but you guys have a great time. That's all I'm gonna say.
We definitely will. B, final thoughts.
Speedball Mike Bailey for the win. Shout out. Let's go.
Mike Bailey for the win. My final thought, simply just don't, no matter what you do in life, don't let the man keep you down. For Brian, for Isaac, I'm Patrick. This has been Wrestling with Egos. Brian's at B Kriego 15. Isaac's at I the Fourth. Your boy right here is at rant mode on Tweet the Show Wrestling X Egos. You guys have seen everything else. The music's playing, which is telling me to get the hell off the stage before Will Smith comes to slap the shit out of me. Until next week, we'll see you guys then, because this and stuff like next week and WrestleMania weekend, definitely why we love wrestling.